a group or a tribe or a nation. And this, but only that far. And so that's why the traditional values tend to be ethnocentric. It expands just to my people, not to all people, just to my chosen people. And so that's why the traditional value system, wherever we find them, tend to be ethnocentric. And then when you get to rational level, it expands from second person to third person. And a third person essentially means universal. So starting with the rational stage of development, individuals are looked at and judged according to world-centric standards, not egocentric, like archaic and magic, and not ethnocentric, like traditional, but world-centric. And that means that a person is judged regardless of race, color, faith, or creed. And so that's another expansion of perspectives. And we find the same thing continuing into the higher stages. And so these vertical growth stages are so very important, and very important to world peace, very important to our own growth and our own freedom and liberation, because they give us more eyes to look through. They give us a wider identity in every case. They give us a larger scope for care and compassion. One's capacity to love increases dramatically as these perspectives increase. One's capacity for compassion increases dramatically as individuals move through these stages of increasing perspectives. And so again, see, you can be at the fundamentalist stage and have a complete, full now experience. And you will interpret it, as we said, according to ethnocentric standards. And so the importance of having these vertical stages added to states like now moment is important, because both of those are the ways that we mark our freedom. And so we don't want to have individuals going around living from the now moment, believe that they're plugged into the absolute, and yet be only at, let's say, the traditional level, where their absolute is just going to be ethnocentric. It's just my chosen peoples are the ones that realize this. Nobody else does. And as a matter of fact, we know there are several mystics that are very aggressive and warlike and ethnocentric. They are perfectly aware of the timeless now moment. They're perfectly plugged into it. But their vertical stages of growth are not as high as they could be. And so that's what we want to be careful about in praising either one alone. Many Western developmentalists praise and work only with these vertical stages of development. They work only with archaic, magic, mythic, rational, and so on, and they have no concept of a timeless now. They have no concept of pure presence. They have no concept of a supreme identity of the self with a ground of being. And so both sides can be at fault in not taking the other side into account. So we have two major ways of growth available to human beings. One is through these vertical stages, and one is through these horizontal states. Both of them are crucial. Both of them are absolutely crucial.
Now, this brings to mind for me a couple of questions that I want to ask you. One of them, certainly you're not saying that it's not useful or desirable for someone at some of these lower developmental levels to have this experience of the now. And obviously, or very likely, many of the people who have read Tolle's books or have heard these lessons online that Oprah has created with him are not at this integral level of development. They're at one of those other three that you mentioned.
Right.
So in a practical sense, if someone is listening to this and they're saying, okay, I'm at this rational level or I'm at this pluralist level, what would they actually do in a practical sense then to work with what you have just discussed?
Well, that's where we have basically, we have to look at all of the information that Western developmental psychology has developed in terms of what helps people to grow and develop vertically through these stages. And it's this part is a kind of a long conversation because it gets very sophisticated. But basically, what it comes down to is what's called challenge and support. That the individual needs to be exposed to things in their environment that challenge the level they're at and support responses from the next higher level.
Which expands their perspective.
That's right. And so what we've done in the Integral Life Practice Starter Kit is include the largest number of practices that have shown to help with this vertical transformation. So we've included those in the package, along with those things that help people get in touch with the now. So we've included techniques for basically both of those. And let me just say that one of the things that does help with vertical growth, not always, but all things considered equal, meditation itself can help. It doesn't automatically cause it, because if it did, all mystics would automatically be at the integral level. And a vast number of mystics are at the fundamentalist level, frankly, or at the scientific level. But it is a strong way to help with vertical growth. And so that's why things that help with spiritual practice can help vertical growth. Other things are required as well, but that can be very helpful. And so doing things like HoloSync, doing things like Big Mind, these can be very powerful ingredients in an integral transformative practice, in an overall practice that helps people move their perspectives upward. So I would just toss that in as individuals can start by, getting the Integral Life Practice Starter Kit or going into some of these meditation practices, but just with the idea that increasing perspectives are a necessary part of the growth process.
Right, and I'll just give a little commercial here for the Integral Life Practice Starter Kit, because I have recommended it myself to thousands of people, and I think it is probably the most sophisticated collection and easy-to-use collection of practices out there, and that if people want a very easy-to-use way to really begin to implement and embody the things that Eckhart Tolle is talking about, and some other things that we're adding to that discussion, this what we call ILP kit, Integral Life Practice Starter Kit, would be a great way to go.
Well, thank you.
At the end of this, we can sort of tell people how they could
Sure.
get that. Now, my second question that popped into my mind is that I am suspecting that a lot of the people that have run into Tolle through Oprah are probably of the Christian persuasion in some way.
Right.
Whether they're at mythic or rational or pluralistic or perhaps even some of them at integral.
Right.
And particularly with traditional mythic Christianity, which is the Christianity that most people come into contact with.
Right.
Even though it may be a sort of a softer form of it in some cases, not a real hard fundamentalist form of it, there are things in Christianity that seem to be at odds with some of what Tolle is talking about. The whole idea that, okay, Jesus can be in this state, but, he's the great exception,
right,
not the great example. And so I'm guessing that there are a lot of people who come in contact with this, and it's a little bit of a, they're trying to integrate, how can I